Welcome back to 8-Bit. Are sealed cassettes real or are they fake? Let's take a look at one I purchased earlier on this week. The problem is these cassettes are 40 years old, so is it possible to have many left out in the wild that are still sealed? Okay, let's move these out the way and have a look at this cassette that I purchased earlier this week. And it is a copy of Manic Miner for the MSX computer. Again, this game is probably registered or sold back in 1984. It is close to being, 40 years old? And it is still sealed. Okay, now I've heard a lot of talk on the forums in the grapevine that people think that some of these cassettes are fake and have been sealed recently and sold at a profit. That's quite disturbing to hear this, because people buy these on the assumption that they are in the original packaging, have been sealed in the same packaging for 40 years and do pay a premium price for such a thing. Now, I'm pretty sure there are a few real ones out there that have been kept in pristine condition all this time, but I do worry if there are tapes out there that have been recently sealed to make a profit. Anyway, let's take a look at this cassette that I've purchased. Now, it does have the software projects banding across the top. I was trying to think back in the day whether or not sealed cassettes did have a logo branded seal across it. Well, I don't know. Maybe you can tell me. I don't think many of these games were actually sealed when they were sold in the shops. When you went into a store, you saw loads of shelves that were full of cassettes, but they were all empty, and you had to take the cassette to the counter where the actual cassettes themselves were locked away in a cupboard securely. And back then there was no internet, but you could place an order for a game via mail order, where you would send a check or postal order off to a company, and 28 days later you would receive a brand new game. And usually those cassettes were sealed in this way. Anyway, this particular cassette, as I said, is 40 years old. It looks in great condition, and that's one thing to really look out on a sealed cassette, to test whether or not it's been sealed recently. You need to have a good look around it and make sure there's no scuff marks on the edges of the cassette, or it's not been faded, or any scratches at all on it. And looking closely at this does look in great condition. I can't see any marks at all on that. No scuffs, no marks behind the plastics. Okay, and to show you what I mean, if we look at an old cassette, which is about, again, 40 years old, and some of these tapes have been out in the mix for a considerable long time, and they are, vulnerable to wear and tear and fading of some of the graphics and some of the illustrations on it. And you can just see on this particular cassette, if you look closely at it, around the edge of the inlay cover, it's slightly frail and gone white. And I think you'll see that across most cassettes these days that are old. And the same with this one. Especially around the edges, the plastic's scuffed as well. And that's another example of just standard wear and tear on cassettes. And to be honest, I haven't come across many old cassettes that haven't shown some sort of wear. So if this cassette, as you can see, has got no frail marks along the edges, it's completely clean. The inlay is completely clean as well. And again, it's the graphics of the print is not faded at all compared to maybe print of cassettes that have been out in the wild for a considerable long time. Now, I have purchased a couple of new releases. As I say, there are programs out there now that are still releasing games for the ZX Spectrum, and these are brand new 2022 games. And again, you can see on the inlays completely clean and unfaded inlays, which again is very similar. So I really do think this one is a real one. And this has been sealed for the last 40 years, but I can't be 100%, and I wouldn't say I'm an expert at this, but I just want to throw it out there with you guys. What do you really think? Do you think there are many out there that are resealing old cassettes to make a profit? Have you fallen victim of it? Have you got many of these yourself? And what things would you look out for? So I'll be really grateful if people could leave a comment on this video just to let me know your thoughts on sealed cassettes, whether you think they are real, whether you think they're a fake, whether there are more fake than real ones out there, and what you think of the people that produce faked sealed cassettes. Have you got one? How can you tell if it's real? Tell us your experiences. Tell us what you think. Anyway, that's it from me. Talk to you soon. Take care. Goodbye.